So once again, welcome to the Power of Six call. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Big Mo. And, one thing I've learned in my years of network marketing, my husband and I have been in network marketing for a very long time. And we're students of the industry, so we pay attention to certain things that we learn at conferences or training calls such as this. And one thing I always knew that, there was something that certain elements that had to take place in order to be successful. And therefore, it was a mindset. We knew what to expect. We were taught to learn what to expect. That's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get into it. But you do know, once again, the name of this call is the Power of Six. And the Power of Six simply means that we're all engaging in a duplicatable system and enrolling 6 partners in order to maximize the binary plan and matching bonuses. You may get a chance to see a little bit of that system later because many of you have already seen the system. We may have some new people on the call. I'll try to make sure we find time to do that. But what we're going to be talking about tonight, again, is the Big Mo. You see, the Big Mo is what everybody looks forward to in network marketing. If you are getting into this business to earn money, you can't wait to the Big Mo because there's certain characteristics that the Big Mo encompasses. Let's talk about this. First of all, there are 4 phases in network marketing. The first phase is called the formulation phase. And you can see in this area down here labeled number 1, that's the formulation stage. You notice it's kind of flat. That's when the company's first beginning is being formed. And in concentration phase, that's, where the company is growing a little bit more of an incline than it was in the formulation stage. The momentum stage is where the company almost shoots straight up to the sky. I mean, it's growing so fast that you can't hardly keep up with it. And then in the stability stage, it's beginning to flatten out in number 4. So let's talk about these 4 phases. First of all, the formulation phase, and I'll be reading this because it's so much, it's just easier to just go ahead and read this. So while the formulation phase represents the riskiest period for initiation, it offers an optimal window for product marketing due to its novelty. During this phase, leaders diligently lay the groundwork for a sustainable business. The pre-launch phase preceding formulation tends to attract opportunistic individuals intrigued by the allure of the next big thing. You see, there are people out there that are networkers and they look for the next big thing. And when you hear about they want to get in first because they know that when they get in first, they're going to benefit from a large percentage of the market share if they go to work. That's a key point, if they go to work. Now, I can get my screen to go. There. So again, the formulation phase, in this early period, it is not without its challenges, encompassing product and support issues, internal infrastructure hiccups, and the intricacies of compensation plans. The attrition rate tends to be high during formulation as the company grapples with the growing pains of its initial launch. I don't know about you, but I've experienced that before, where, you can't even get into customer service. The website is down, back orders on products. Those are some of the things that you experience in the formulation stage. Despite the inherent risk, those who weather the challenges and maintain commitment may reap substantial long-term rewards as the MLM progresses through subsequent developmental phases. In other words, it's beneficial if you can go through the storm. You're gonna be rewarded following that. And so here we go now to the second phase, which is called concentration. Transitioning into the concentration phase lacks a rigid timetable, typically occurring after a span of 3 to 5 years or more. And it's like, for example, look at Lifeway. All those years it was, the highest it had done by 2020, 2021 was 20 million. And so it was not a 3 to 5 year period because you got to look at every company differently. This duration allows the company to iron out startup intricacies and establishing a robust foundation. Some MLM companies may achieve this phase within the inaugural year, while others might require up to 5 years. Once again, Lifeway is way more than 5 years, okay? Once in a concentration, the company exudes an aura of stability and long-term viability, making it an attractive prospect for leaders seeking a reliable opportunity, often deemed the opportune time to join an MLM. The concentration phase strikes a balance between establishment and the anticipation of the coveted momentum phase. The duration of the concentration phase varies and is influenced by factors such as effective field leadership. It typically materializes when core leaders build a foundation of full-time committed distributors, setting the stage for the subsequent momentum phase. I mean, this is typical. Everything I'm talking about, I want you to think about where we are with LifeWaves. You know, many of us have started doing this business full-time because of the characteristics that are going on that they're saying right here. And here we go, you guys, with a big mo. You see, the momentum phase is what everybody looks forward to. We call it the big mo. It's like everybody's looking forward to it. The advent of the momentum phase is an unpredictable occurrence, often materializing after approximately 7 years. Once again, we're into 20 years, accounting for both formulation and concentration phases. This phase unfolds and the company has nurtured a solid core of leaders working full-time, triggering explosive growth and rapid team expansion. While the concentration phase is often hailed as the prime time to join an MLM. Yes, you guys, the concentration phase is the most attractive phase, you know, because you're catching the wave, you're about to catch the wave. Momentum is regarded as the zenith for active participation. Momentum can persist for 1 or 2 years or even longer, contingent upon factors such as the viability of the opportunity, product appeal, and robust team support. Notably, this phase witnesses the emergence of MLM millionaires, and even average distributors can flourish in building a thriving business. See, notice it talked about momentum can persist based on such factors as product appeal and opportunity. Listen, one thing, if you've been around for at least 6 months, you've heard it being said that, you know, David Schmidt stays in the laboratory. This man is talking 20 years what he's going to do for this company. We're going to be in momentum. I'm telling y'all, you have to understand where we are. This is not an average company. We're going to be multiple times going into momentum. You think you're going in momentum now because of the X39, and then when they come out the water machine, and then when they come out, I don't even know what else he's got in his laboratory. But you got to trust. I mean, this man is geeked out about new inventions. He's at 200 now. So it is imperative to acknowledge that momentum is inherently transient with an inevitable conclusion. Like you don't know, how long momentum is going to last, but nonetheless, adept navigation through this phase can propel an MLM company to sales figures, listen to this, exceeding hundreds of millions, and in rare instances, breaking the coveted billion-dollar threshold. Does that sound like LifeWave to you? That we are approaching $1 billion, but guess what it says? It's rare. So I want you to know where we are, you guys. Let's continue. Momentum phase is where a company experiences accelerated growth, often characterized by a surge in new distributors, increased sales, and heightened brand awareness. It is a critical period that can make a significant difference in an MLM's trajectory. We were in a company a few years ago, and there's a few other people on the call, maybe 3 or 4 people on this call, who also were part of a company. It was called Artists International, you guys. And we had a product, and one of the things about concentration and momentum phase, and I've read this somewhere, I don't even know where I read it, but normally it's a key product that is focused on. Does that sound familiar? LifeWave is focusing on the X39. That company was focusing on the Body Magic because it was an undeniable product that everybody wanted. Okay, that's where we are with this right here. So we've experienced momentum before, and one thing that I remember from being in that company was the very first meeting I went to there was 75 people in the room at Erica McQueen, who lives in here in Atlanta. She was the first person in Atlanta, Georgia, that was in that company. But she was having these meetings at her house, little small meetings. Can you think about this? If you invited some people over, what would you have, 5 or 6 or maybe 10? Her meetings had got up to 75, and her husband said, we're not going to have the meetings here anymore. We'll find some place. But the next week we're at a hotel. They reserved a room that was supposed to hold 125 people showed up. We were out in the hallway. The next week, they got a bigger room. This time close to 200 showed up. Then we had to move to the Westin Hotel where the room was supposed to hold 400. It spilled over where we had to open up the doors and go to another room that was adjacent that held 400 people. So it was about 600 people that night. The next week we got the same two rooms, but instead of it being 400 plus 400 or 800 people there, people were in the hallway. There were over 800 people. That's what, and then the next week we went to the Sheraton because it held 1,000 people. That's what momentum feels like, you guys. We don't have to physically be in a hotel, but I'm telling you, the people are going to be popping in your back office so fast that, you know, it's going to make your head swim. However, we got one more phase. The final phase of MLM company development is the stability phase, achieved by a sustained track record of success and the stabilization of rapid growth. While companies in the stability phase continue to experience growth, it lacks the explosive nature witnessed during the momentum phase. And I've already, you know, alluded to the fact that I believe we're going to experience momentum for a very long time here at LifeWave. Opportunities in the stability phase remain solid, boasting a proven track record of success and featuring robust corporate and field leadership with substantial teams. However, the potential for rapid, massive success for the average distributor aiming for 6 or 7 figure incomes may be somewhat diminished. So we're not saying that. We tell people all the time, yeah, you can still get in a year or two. You're still going to have an opportunity, but it's not going to be as strong as right now. And so what I want to ask somebody on this call, please unmute yourself because I want some interaction. Where do you think we are in LifeWave? Anybody? What phase do you think LifeWave is in? Don't be quiet on me now.
Momentum.
Momentum.
Okay, so 2 people say momentum. Anybody else have another one?
Concentration phase headed to momentum.
Concentration.
Okay. You know what I think we are, I know we cannot be in pardon me?
No, I don't think we're quite to momentum yet, Verdita. Not by the standard. I think we're approaching it there, but we're close, but not quite.
Well, okay, let me just let's kind of evaluate this together. This is my opinion. I think that, think about this. We haven't reached $1 billion. They referred to that, with those descriptions. So it's kind of hard to say the overall company is in momentum, but I will say different teams or different communities are in momentum because they're popping SPDs like crazy. I mean, it's just that fast. Whereas some communities are in the concentration phase. There's some stability, we're growing, but we're not quite in momentum. We don't feel that same momentum that I just described to you. But both of those answers, could be both. I think we're headed toward momentum, but doesn't that make you feel good? Doesn't it make you feel that you're in a good place? It already said on here that concentration is the best place to enter a company. We're the right place, you guys, at the right time. So here's another question for you to think. You don't have to respond on the call, but where are you with your business? See, all of us have those, you first get started, you're trying to lay the foundation. That's what the formulation stage, you're trying to build a solid foundation. And then you go into concentration where it's coming, you got some stability within your organization. And then you get to the momentum phase where your team is beginning to explode. And then, it levels off because it has to level off because the product line is leveling off and the opportunity itself is leveling off. But what I hope and I anticipate is that LifeWave will continue to introduce so many awesome products, the unbelievable patented products that a whole new wave of people will come on board. So that's just something to think about. So next thing I want to talk about is enjoy the ride. Why is this sitting up here on my screen? Enjoy the ride, you guys. Give it all you got and be grateful. See, you have to understand where you are. I talked about being grateful. Y'all know that I refer to this book a lot called The Science of Getting Rich. I want to read to you what Wallace Wattles, the author, says says. He says, and I want to talk about, you know, how I talked about at the beginning of the call about, you know, how some people get discouraged because they say, well, my team isn't growing. It's a lot of reasons why it's not growing. It has to do with your work ethic. It has to do with, you know, how many people you brought into the, you know, a lot of things. It depends on what type of leadership you're displaying with your team. It's a lot of factors. And that's why we do these calls every week, because it's not just one thing. It's people that don't fall in your lap. You know, and then the people that you bring in, the people don't fall in their lap. It's a process of duplication. Let's see what Wallace Waddle says about when you have, you know, made up your mind, you know, that you want to reach a goal or something. Let's see what he says. He says, the moment you permit your mind to dwell with dissatisfaction upon things as they are, you begin to lose ground. You fix attention upon the common, the ordinary, the poor, the squalid, and the mean, and your mind takes the form of these things. In other words, your mind should be elevated for success, for a higher level mindset. Then you will transfer these forms of mental images to the formless. He used a lot of scientific words in here, and the common, the poor, the squalid, and the mean will come to you. In other words, you're going to attract what you are, what you're thinking about, right? Listen, keep going. To permit your mind to dwell upon the inferior is to become inferior and to surround yourself with inferior things. On the other hand, to fix your attention on the best is to surround yourself with the best and to become the best. The creative partner within us makes us into the image of that to which we give our attention. We are of thinking substance too, and thinking substance always takes the form of that which it thinks about. You all heard the book Think and Grow Rich. What you think about is what you are. Let's get to the grateful part. The grateful mind, this is key, is constantly fixed upon the best. The grateful mind is constantly fixed up on the best. Therefore, it tends to become the best. It takes the form or character of the best and will receive the best. Also, faith is born of gratitude. The grateful mind continually expects good things, and expectation becomes faith. Okay, so that's what I want to say about that. I just want to read one thing out of this book called Creating Affluence by Deepak Chopra, and what he says about gratitude, because he's saying that God, you know, for us to emulate God, God is the best. G stands for gratitude, generosity, God, gap, and goal. Gratitude and generosity are natural attributes of an affluent consciousness. Since the only thing to go after is the best, there's that word best again, the principle of the highest first, why not adopt God as the role model? You guys, I just wanted to read that just as something to think about, because, you know, when I was talking about the phases, you got to think about where you are. So look, let's translate this over to the power six. Let's translate this over to the power six, because, you know, the power six, what it does is shows you, you know, when you look at this chart, and I'm just going to really quickly, for somebody who's new, what this means. This power six is based on assuming at the very beginning that you're going to maximize the number of people that you need to get to the top of the company. Now, we're not saying only get 6 partners. You probably need to go get 30 or 40 over the next few weeks when you first get started. But we want to make sure that you have 6 people that undeniably you never have to worry about them being on 2 sleeves. You never have to worry about them being on auto ship. You know, you don't have to worry about them being on calls. You don't have to worry about them duplicating, because guess what? They're going to turn around and get 6 like-minded people just like themselves. Would you put 36 people on your second level? 36 going to get their 6, 216 on your third level, 1296. As you can see, these numbers get bigger, right? But when you first look at this chart, you look at this and say, I thought there was some money in this compensation plan. You mean to tell me I got 42 people on my team and I'm only making like 200, anywhere from 250, this is the low end, to $500 a month? See, this right here represents 2 sleeves, X39, 154 times 154 points times 6 people is 924 points. That's what these numbers right here. These are residual. This is not the package. A person comes in with a premium package, that's 700 some points. These numbers based on what you're going to start making every month. This is your bread and butter. So if you look at these two levels and you say, I'm not making enough money. Okay, I'm just saying in so many words. And then you go on down here, next thing you know, you got 200 some people on your third level. Now you're at what, about 1,500 to 3,000 per month. Not too bad. But see, here's what you got to understand. How you going to expect to make thousands of dollars per month in residual when you only brought in your whole team only consists of 10 people? Let's just be real. Now, we do get paid in the residual of the binary, but does not even assume some people, you know how that binary works. You got an inside leg, and then you turn around and put somebody inside that leg, and then they turn around and put somebody. That person's not going to see no spillover from somebody at the top. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, don't even think about spillover. Think about what you can do. But if you simplify it and understand that this right here is your formulation stage. These two levels are your formulation stage. Now you're getting into concentration. How would you like to see, about $9,000? Let's see, what's this, 87? Yeah, about $9,000 on the low end to like, $18,000 on the high end every month. Would you be happy? Do you see what happens when you get to more people on your team? And then you go down here. Now, this 25,000 max is based on per week. This chart is based on monthly order ship. So if we said that all these people place their orders in the same week, we already know there's a maximum of $25,000 in the binary. But if they were spread out over the whole month, like 2,000 one week, 2,000 another week, 2,000 another week, and another 1,700 the last week, well, let me back up. Then you be making a whole 100,000. You see, do you see what I'm saying? This, I put this here because on this type of chart, I'm a mathematician, so I always have to go with what is what is possible. It is very possible. A person with 8,000 people on their team could come, it's possible. So if you're maximizing the binary every single week, let's go with the week, okay? And so I'm going to show you what's going to happen. You're making 25,000 in the binary. Okay, let's say you maxed it out. And let me back up one more time. What if this was 5 years from now? You're producing, you probably got at least 6 directors direct to you. If they are directors, what does that mean? That means they have to have 6, doesn't it? And if those people are directors, what does that mean? They have to have 6. This will happen if you focus, if you are intentional about following the system of getting 6. You have to have 6 to be a director. You have to have 6 to be a senior director. You have to have 6 to be executive. Okay, what is this? Somebody sending me a message. Anyway, do you see what I'm saying? So let's get back to this. The binary max and the matching bonuses. If you're doing 25,000 a week, those people that you personally enroll, remember that 5th and 6th level where you maxing out at 25,000? Guess what? Those people on your first level are maxing out too. 25% of 25,000 is $6,250, but you got 6 partners. So that's 37.5. The people on your second level, they're maxing out too. 20% of 5,000 is 180,000. The people on your third level, they're maxing out too. 20% of 25,000 is $5,000, 216 partners. You're getting matches just on 3 levels, $1 million, y'all, every month. I think that's a month. Let me see back up. Yeah, this is on the week. Remember, we maxing out to 25,000. Yeah, can you imagine? I skipped the screen here, but anyway, you can see this is like 1.2 or 3 million per week. See, this is going to happen, whether you believe it or not. It's going to happen. And I saw this from the very beginning, but many people looked at the compensation plan just because they're making $200, $200 a month or whatever, and they were getting discouraged. That's because they gave up way before they should have given up. People give up all the time. Y'all know that. They quit. It's not enough money for me to spend time with this. That's what they say. Now, I just want you to, last thing I want to say is this list of people here, that's the kind of people that are going to move your business, okay? The high energy, outgoing people, strong leadership skills, strong communication skills, entrepreneur, risk takers, MLM experience, financially stable, self-motivated, and influential. See, those characteristics literally not saying that anybody can't be successful, but these are the characteristics most of them have. And so, you know, I'm hoping that you all can see how, you know, your organization, when you look at it in phases, then you can appreciate, oh, I'm grateful because look, I'm going through this phase right now. I'm right here, but look what I got to look forward to. And you mean to tell me if I just make sure these people get their six and focus, well, you're not going to have to. I mean, sometimes you do go deep, like I go deep in my organization, but sometimes if you get the right people, they want to be director, right? So they're going to go get these. And so you're going to start seeing this money come in. Trust me, you're going to see it. Okay. Now, what I want to do now, I'm going to stop this. I want to ask one of my colleagues out of the New Jersey area. He is a very studious person, really, really, you know, sharp individual. And he's also an industry. He's been in the industry, network marketing industry for a while. He's very, you know, like I said, studious. I want to ask Mr. Derek Hawkins, a director out of our team in New Jersey, to come on and share, you know, what you might want to say about the Big Mo and the 4 phases.
Hey, Brita, can you guys hear me okay?
I surely can.
Good. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that segment on momentum because I did have some experience with momentum. I've been in the network marketing industry for probably close to 35, 40 years. And I've been in 2 companies particular that, you know, I saw them go through all those 4 phases. And those phases are real. And we are fortunate that we are in a phase, and some people think we're in concentration, some think we're in momentum. And even if we're at momentum, we're at the early stages of it. So when you get a momentum, that incline just goes up to the right. There are going to be some people that literally become successful by mistake, by accident, just because they were they kept their ordership, they talked to a few people who talked to a few people. And that's the beauty of this type of business, is that it's not so much on what you can do, but if you are persistent, consistent, you will have that success. And I like to use the analogy of surfing. Now, I've never surfed before, but if you think about a surfboard, and what happens with a surfer is they have this surfboard, and I'm going to use LifeWave as the analogy. LifeWave is this surfboard. Now, the experienced surfers, they see this wave coming before it gets close to shore. So they go out, you know, towards the middle of the sea and get as close to that wave as possible. And then what happens is they catch that wave, and it literally rides them all the way to shore. And the analogy is that they become successful. They become senior president or director. They help a lot of other people have success, mainly because not only did they see the wave, they took advantage of it and they stayed with it. Then you have some people who, you know, they kind of midstream, they have a surfboard, but they want to wait till it gets up close. They want to wait till they actually feel it. Like some people in this business, they want to wait till they have their own testimony before they start sharing with other people or doing the business. And what happens is, by the time they realize how big this thing is, they get knocked down by the waves. They swimming with the sharks. They got to swim back to shore. They're all tired and worn out, and they don't really have the success they want. Then you have the individuals who see it. They know people having success. They know it's helping people, and they just don't really, for some reason, don't have the faith and believe it could be for them. And they're at the shore. They're like waiting for their ship to come in. And by the time that wave hits the shore, you know, it's kind of petered out. It doesn't have much power or strength to do anything for you, and you want them to have success. So as Ferdita shared, and you've heard a lot of people share it with your mindset, people in this business don't fail. They either win or they quit. It's that simple. They either win or they quit. And like I said, there are going to be many people who are going to be successful by mistake. It's not on intentional or purpose. They just happen to stay around long enough. They stayed in the game. They talked to a handful of people, and before they knew it, they looked up and they have success. And I, like Vidita, I was in a company. It was an industry leading company. It was one of those companies that was no one else had been doing it. I was in that company for 14 years. It cost $500 to join that company, and out of the $500, 405 of that dollars just went to other distributors, and you got like a manual. So you didn't even get any product. And then they only paid us 0.25% profit. So think about that. So out of $100 product or service, I earned 25 cents. And did that for 14 years, had some success, had a nice sized team. And after a while, I realized, I said, if, you know, with all the work and the time and effort, at that point, I finally just, you know, shifted gears and did something else. But the reason I share that with you is I learned most of the stuff that I've learned about this particular industry was through that business because of the mindset. So you are getting a training, you are getting education that could cost you hundreds of millions of dollars if you were to get it personally. So if for nothing else, you're going to get enough information to be successful, whether it's here or in LifeWave. So you want to make sure you stay around long enough to take advantage of it. Again, I've done it just to give you an idea how what you have your hands on, and we talk about momentum in that company. Like I said, I was in a company for 14 years. I've already out earned in 2 years, less than 2 years with this company than I did with that company for 14 years with fewer people and fewer item products. So in this company, again, it's going to have more things to add. We are either late concentration, early momentum. It doesn't matter. And here's how you can measure and determine how we're in momentum or not. How many people that you know, friends and family, have contacted you about LifeWave? And if the answer is one, two, or none, that's to be indicated to you that it where you can have momentum in your own business because all of those people that you know that haven't contacted you are more likely they're not in LifeWave. So again, you want to make sure you take advantage of it. Success is 90% mental. So you have to guard your headquarters, as Dr. Stroman always called your headquarters, because plugging into leadership is getting your mind right. Reading the books, The Science of Getting Rich. You got to stimulate your mind through what you call mental gymnastics, or it's going to get atrophy and not going to be you. So if you, again, we're in a phenomenal opportunity. We have layers of leadership. You don't have to figure anything out. You just have, as Harvey always says, you have to be a good copycat, but copy the right cat. And we have the right cats. You have Steve and Gina, you have Ken and Lynn, you have Verdita and Harvey. Now you have Chris those you know who Chris that just joined, who did a phenomenal training in Atlanta. And again, Chris knew about the business more than a year, and I know Ken just shared it with them. But when you talk about leaders coming from other places, that's also another sign too that, hey, if people like that who are well established, who know this business inside and out, can build anywhere they want, if they decide to start coming aboard a company like this, like a Chris Oliver, that should be a sign. And I actually give you, before I turn over back to you, Vidita, I invited a guy. I try to invite this guy to a meeting every once in a while. I reach out to him. It turns out that I hadn't have the right information, and I think Chris was doing a presentation. And when he got on, he said the reason he got on the call is he said because he heard Chris Oliver was doing the presentation, and so much so that he was trying to place an order during the presentation. That's how excited he was. And he's a customer now, but he's going to eventually become a brand partner. So again, when people are like, those are the signs. Again, you already had leaders like Z.R. Kendrick and Ken Robinson and Reggie Stewart. These guys are what they call uh, in the industry. These guys are top of the notch. These guys are like legacy builders. You mentioned those names again. It gets people's attention. So you're in the right place at the right time. You just have to be willing to move forward. And again, whatever you do not quit, because again, you can't fail. You can only quit or win. And I'm gonna give it back to you, Badita. Thanks for allowing me
Wow,
to
Derek, thank you so much
share.
for all those encouraging words. I'm hoping everybody, is encouraged by what you said. And I like that, don't give up, don't quit, you guys. So it's certain things we talk about doing all the time. So yes, I want to take advantage of, be a good steward of our time. And I have another person that I would like to bring up, and that is Mr. Jewel Strother out of Kansas City. He's got a word for us. Come on, Jewel, another director.
All right, how you doing today? Can you hear me okay?
Wonderful. I like that background.
Thank you. I'll try to make my training short because the gentleman before me definitely touched on a few things I wanted to talk about. But yes, I definitely second that. It's always too soon to quit, everyone. It's always too soon to quit. Verdita, and I definitely thank you for the opportunity for allowing me to share on your platform, on this platform. And with that, I think it's very important that because we have a lot of new people that are not from the industry or people that have touched in the industry, but maybe didn't have the success they're looking for. And sometimes it's easy for that mindset of, different people to be like, well, this might be just like the rest of them. And so I'm glad that that's why we touch on mindset so much. And I'm glad Mrs. Monk really touched on mindset, and she's reading from powerful books that help you shape the mind, because we have to become the person that we need to become to be whatever whatever, rank we want to achieve, because right now it's all about becoming that particular person that we're not today. And so with that, when you're looking at the industry, yeah, I believe we're in concentration all the way. Like Ms. Monk said, that there's certain areas or certain teams that are experiencing a little bit of momentum, but the company, yeah, I don't see it being a momentum till probably another 12 months. That's just my personal opinion. And even though we have a lot of things stirring up and we're #1 in momentum in the world and things like that, but there's different areas out there that people, 9 out of 10 people have never even heard about the patch. And so momentum is where when people, every time you turn around, you maybe, people are familiar or heard about it, maybe not know what it is, but probably half the people you talk to or they was approached by someone or they heard something about it, whether they understood it or not. That's how we're going into momentum, because the word is getting out. And this is the best time, like Mrs. Monk said, this is the perfect time to become part of this particular opportunity, because you want to get in formulation and concentration phase. And I say we're past formulation, because formulation is when the company's creating the right systems, determining the right market. We're beyond that. They're being tested. They're going through a lot of adversity. We're beyond that. We've already have an approved patent, so we're not going through formulation. Concentration is where we at, everyone. Concentration phase, and that's where you want to be, because you want to have your ducks in a row. You want to have your mindset right. So when we go into momentum, you're along for the uprise of just so many people, because you find out that when we go into momentum, a lot of people you're talking to that are kind of skeptical, they would have heard something about it and be more open to learning more about it, in that momentum phase. So I'm super excited about this. And what I love about it, even when we hit the stability phase, when we become a household name, our inventor already has 14 other products that he hasn't even launched yet. That we're going to go through the same thing, formulation, concentration, momentum again, and so I'm excited about that. So the opportunity we have today is just going to get better and better and better. And you guys have to realize that. And I'm really speaking to the new people out there that are not familiar with the industry, because you're being faced and you're placed in a society where so many people are closed-minded and people have given up on their dreams, and they don't want to see you do anything different to surpass where they are today. You guys got to understand that. That's why there's so many people who quit and there's so many people who succeed, because the mind isn't thick enough yet for some people. And that's why it's important to plug into trainings, because we have to develop the right mindset. We go through the same adversity. I promise you, Verdita Monk and her husband Harvey, myself, Chris Oliver, everyone goes through the same adversity. We run into the same knucklehead people. It just doesn't faze us, because our mindset is we're created different, everyone, and that happened over time. So we're definitely encouraging everyone to stay in that learning phase and understand that you're around people that have so much experience in this industry. I mean, between myself and Verdita, Chris, we've made millions in this industry. So it's not like, we're talking something that's possible. No, we're talking about things that's already been done, that's about to be done on a bigger level with this particular opportunity. But keep your mind strong, read books. When you guys driving, quit listening to music. They already got their money, all those artists. Make sure that you're participating in Drive Time University. Educate yourself and strengthen your mind, because you got to be ready when you go through adversity out there. You have to be ready, and you have to know. No, not hope, but you got to know that, hey, where I am is where I'm supposed to be, and I know what's at the end of the line. And allow yourself to borrow from your future. In with this borrow from your future. I say it all the time. Where do you want to be? Is it SPD? Because 140 people already did it, so we know it's possible. Right? So this is nothing that's foreign, that's not reachable. 140 people did it already, y'all. So you got to understand that, man, if they can do it, I can do it. If I had a pie chart and divided in thirds, we all have the same comp plan in 1/3. The second third, we all have the same product. And then the last third, you put yourself in there. The only variance is us. So if there's other people getting rich off this opportunity, guess what? The only difference is you. You have to do what they did, and that's plugging in. The people who have already made it, they didn't quit. And they went through the same adversity that you're going to approach and go through. They say only the strong survive. So make sure you guys strengthen yourself to become stronger in this opportunity. Borrow from your future. If you want to be SPD or an elite, take a moment and just think about it. How would your life be? Where would you live? What would you drive? What would you do with your time? Think about those things, and that should put a smile on somebody's face when you're actually thinking about how your life would be if you was an elite or SPD. Just think about that. Just dwell in that moment for just a little while, and as you smile, I want you guys to borrow that energy today to get you there. Borrow from your future. So with that, that's all I want to touch on. I want to encourage you guys to keep it going because we're about to have some phenomenal times. We're already having a great time. With that, I turn it back over to my fearless leader, Mrs. Verdita Monk.
Thank you, Jewel. Always can count on you to bring the fire and, you know, just a positive mindset. And, you know, we talked in the very first book that I read from, you know, because Jewel is saying being encouraged. It says, don't dwell on being dissatisfied with where you are. He literally used those words, upon things as they are. Dwell upon the best. Always put yourself up there, and you are going to attract that type of person and that type of energy and that type of business. Listen, we are not finished. We got until 10 o'clock. If you got to get off, you can, but we got some more. Who else on this call wants to come on and share some powerful, you know, nuggets or anything? Renee, wait.
Hey, before I talk too long, can you hear the background noise or are my headphones doing their job? Okay, great, good. Okay, so I just want to maybe build on Derek and Jewel, what they said. And something, guys, so for those of you that don't know me, this is my first network marketing venture. And I was very not going to do it type of thing, right? So, and now I have a whole different perspective. But I think the thing as I start to transition out of my employment, my husband instilled in me, you need to be a business owner. And I went back to traditional employment because of the person that offered me that employment. But we're talking there about not quitting. And this has been one of the hardest things, you guys, I have ever done in my life is network marketing. But I will tell you this, and this comes from not from my own wisdom, but we give our life 15, 20, 30, 40 years to a job. And I will tell you, you know what, I made the trip to Atlanta for the regional meeting, and I met another Renee who shared a story with me. She's not on, but it really helped put into perspective for me this, and I hope that it helps bring perspective to what you're doing. If you're struggling and if it's hard, to keep going, not to quit. So the other Renee, she shared with me that one of her coworkers actually died right there in front of her. She was holding his hand, and they replaced him the next day. So if you are in corporate America, I mean, I'm not saying quit your job today. I mean, make sure you have the income to pay your bills. Right? But don't give up, don't quit, because you know what? You didn't give up and you didn't quit on that job that would replace you tomorrow if you died. Right? And guys, I don't know, the ups, the downs, the ebbs, the flows, it's part of everything. But I can tell you finally, you know, we're starting to see the fruits of our labors in this. And I can tell you just in terms of life in general, everything that Derek and Jewel said, they're experienced network marketers. I'm not, but you know, we're starting to experience that. And my husband's an experienced network marketer. So this journey for me has been, I don't know, a lot. And you are in the right place at the right time with the right people. And I don't think that we emphasize that enough, that we are with the right people in this journey together. So everybody on this call is, I mean, they're the creme de la creme of everything that we do. So, you know what? Double down, buy into this. When it's hard, don't quit. It'll be worth it. I promise. I never thought I would say that about network marketing, but guys, it'll be worth it for you. What, you know, the day you can write your resignation letter, not in a mean way, but in the positive sense that you are going to do something better for you and your family, to have a different life, the life that maybe you envision, maybe you haven't envisioned yet. I challenge you to envision, if you are working 40, 50, 60 hours in a corporate America job, I challenge you to envision your life with time, money, and health freedom. It took longer than it should have with me, but guys, I can tell you there's so much less stress in my life now that I have that goal, that dedication. So, and I saw that, I mean, one of the best things about being in Atlanta, the best thing about being at live events is talking to other like-minded people, being in the room, feeling the energy and the encouragement. And I know leaving Atlanta, I know that everything I've decided, my timeline of when I leave my traditional job and all of those things is right on point. So Bridita, always thank you for your leadership. Derek, Jewel, I mean, mic drop. I feel bad even coming on after you. So thank you so much.
You're
But
welcome, and Renee, I
do it.
didn't acknowledge the fact that Renee is a senior director. She's saying that she doesn't have any experience, but she hit senior director. And I mean, she is so knowledgeable about so many things. And so I'm really proud of Renee. Thank you so much, Renee, for sharing. I see another superstar on the call, Miss Erica McQueen. And Erica was the person I referred to when I talked about us in another company where we started in her living room and we just she was the person in Atlanta. And tell these people, Erica, how many people did you end up in your organization eventually in Artists International?
250,000. And I had no idea. It was my first,
50,000.
it was really my first network marketing company. And guys, it was amazing. And all I wanted to do was have financial freedom. And all I wanted to do was not have to go to work on Mother's Day. I mean, that was what made me, that's what really prompted me and pushed me to say, I need to do something a little different. I was working at a job, and I'm telling you, when they told me I had to work on Mother's Day, that hurt me. But see, it was a blessing there because there were so many people in the network marketing industry that were making really good money. I didn't believe it. When people would tell me, oh, I'm getting paid, I said, oh, this person is delusional. Delulu. You know, you're getting what? What are you selling? I tell you one thing, when you get some credit and you know, and you know, you push the button on their credit and it says they can have what they like, you know right away that it's real. And if it happens 4 or 5 times in the course of a week, when you got to really stick and, you know, success got me interested in this industry from there. It's just his
Erica, we're having a bad connection, but we're trying to hear you, but it's breaking up a lot. I think we might have just lost her because she was breaking up a lot. Okay, she did fall off. So does anybody else want to come on? I know we see I see some people out there. I don't want to call your name in case you're in a bad situation, but come on, somebody.
Bernita, I'd like to speak.
Hey, yes, Juanita Kraft, Executive Director out of Atlanta.
Okay, so good evening, everyone. So I'm one of those people that I did everything right. I you know, went to college, got 2 technical degrees and everything, graduated from Georgia Tech Spelman College, worked for 30 years with the FAA. Got my 401k pension, Social Security, all of that. I retired 9 years ago. But when I tell you the income that I'm earning with LifeWave exceeds all of those things put together that it took me 30 years to earn, basically, you know what, and that, so, you know, that thing is you work, you know, 40 years or 30 years to get 30% of your pay. I mean, that is exactly what happens. And one thing I know for sure, and I was, you know, making well over 6 figures, but when you add up, it's just not going to be enough. And so it wasn't enough, at least it wasn't enough for me. You think about what you want to do when you retire. You talk about, you know, most people say, well, I want to travel, I want to do these things, but guess what? If you're relying on your pension and your 401ks, particularly if you're single, because I'm single and have been for some time, you're not going to be able to do any of those things. I promise you. All you're going to be able to do is pay your mortgage and your car payment, car insurance, a few other things, you know, do a little shopping or something like that. But you're not going to be able to live that lifestyle that you dream of. So for me, if it had not been for LifeWave, I would have been looking for at least another company. But LifeWave basically has the best product I've ever seen in my life. You know, one of the things that I realized over the years, because I've been in a lot of different companies, is that, you know, you really need to stick with what you love. As with anything, if you don't love it, if you don't really enjoy it, you're not gonna, you know, it's all work. It feels like work. And so when I'm talking about health and health related things, I mean, it's really in my wheelhouse. So and I like to talk to people. So now I'm having fun, but I'm making money. And it's like, oh my God, this is so crazy. Cause, you know, wake up when my eyes open, go to the gym, come home, you know, listen to a book or something like that. Or, you know, whatever it is that I want to do, make a few calls and, you know, talk with my team. But the bottom line is, guys, you know, just if you stick with it, I've been in LifeWave like 2 years now, 3 months. And like I said, the income exceeding what it took me 30 years I had to work 30 years to create the residual income that I get from those other sources. So, you know, don't give up. Just, you know, don't quit too soon. So that's the only reason why so many people don't succeed is because they don't stay in long enough to figure out how to do it right. And but I assure you, you know, if you stay with it long enough, something's going to click. And you know, and you will get to where you want to go, and just stay in there, keep doing the personal development, and we're going to all win together.
All right. Thank you so much, Juanita. And Juanita is an example of a person who, like I said, working a full-time job all that time. She was doing network marketing, but she stuck with the industry. She believed in industry, and now it's paying off. I saw that Erica had fallen off. I don't know if you just take another minute, Erica, because we're about 3 minutes in.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I just want to say 2 things. First of all, I want to encourage everyone to decree what they want to see. That has worked so many times in my life. So I want to encourage you all to do that. And then I want to leave you with a word that Mr. Deion Sanders said on a podcast. He said that they asked him, so tell us, Deion, do you feel pressure? And he said, he stopped, he paused, he said, I don't feel pressure, I apply pressure. And then it made me think about a situation as I was at one of the conferences and I was about to sing, and one of the leaders, they had switched up some things and told him he needed to do some other things that he did not anticipate on doing. And I heard him say, oh my God, they putting the pressure on me. And I walked by him and I said, you are pressure. And he looked at me like, you ain't never lied, I am pressure. I said, you sure are. And so just know, each and every one of you on this line.
You can call his name, Erica. You can call his name.
Mike Hernandez, he was like, damn, they putting the pressure on me.
They
putting the pressure on me. I said, you are pressure. He said, you right, girl. So guys, sometimes saying that one word to your teammates, to your leaders, encouraging each other, guys, we got to have a love fest. We got to keep elevating each other, pushing each other up, because there's so much we can do if we can just believe it and we can speak it. And guess what? We can achieve it. So there you go. Over and out.
Well, thank you, superstars, for all your comments. I want to say this, you guys, I am very serious about this. We have got to show up and show out in August at the Next Level event. We have got to go ahead and we got 90 days. Starting May 1st, we have 90 days to hit these goals. And I want to say this real quick. I hope this will help you realize that you can. Let's say you want to be a senior director and you just got started. Guess what you want to do? You have to do it fast. You have to do it fast. I highly recommend you make a list of 100 people, but we want you to do a launch call, because that's the quickest way to get to way more people, right? But I would say divide it into groups of 30, because if you take 2 minutes to call each person and you call 30 people, that only take you an hour. If you're a busy person, you can do that. So you call each person and say something, and listen, that's like if I was calling Erica, you're not gonna believe this. I got my hands on something so amazing. Now I have the script for the people who we're talking about only for making money. But if you're just starting out and you got a group of people, your friends, your relatives, everybody can't go by that same script. You got to say something like, look, it has to do with stem cell technology, but listen, you need to know about this. Trust me, I'm going out of my way to call you because it's just that important. Can I get 30 to 45 minutes commitment out of your schedule tomorrow evening, or when is the day, Wednesday or Friday evening, whatever it is? But try to do 3 of those in the first week. If you have a list of 100, call 30 the first time. And then those people that do join from the first call, plug them into the second call, but go ahead and still call your other 30. And what you're going to expect out of the 30 that you call, maybe 10 to 15, even though they said they were going to get on a call, expect 10 to 15 to get on that call. When those get on that call, you might get 3 or 4 people to join. We don't, maybe 2 or 3, who knows? But if you do 3 calls, can you see yourself hitting manager in a week? So if you see yourself hitting a manager in a week doing that very, very simple exercise, then you take those people that did join under you and do the same thing with them and say, let's launch you. And I want you to make a list of 100. Can you see how you can get to director in 2 weeks? Because you're not going to stop at 4 to hit manager. We want you to get 20 on the left, 20 on the right. But I'm just talking about that first month. This is what you're going to be doing. That second week or third week, those people who came in on your first call, now they're manager, now you're director. And if you keep doing this, can you see that now we're talking about helping them become director, because they're going to get the people that came in on their calls to get to manager. And if you keep that going for 90 days, your volume is definitely going to be senior director. So I'm saying to you, I'm not saying that you should limit yourself to senior director. We hit senior director in 6 weeks. And this was during Thanksgiving and Christmas. We came in the middle of these November, and the end of the year, I will never forget, we hit it because they had a promotion going on in place, and we got the money in that promotion. It was like $1,400 if you hit senior director, from manager to senior director, and that's what we did. So I'm saying to you, don't think that it's not possible. Be positive. Go for it. We're here to help you. I know that I've committed myself to helping several people, 10 people right now. Because I can't work with everybody, but 10 people right now, because we're doing launch calls and all kind of stuff to hit their goals. And I want to see y'all walk across the stage. You guys, this call is recorded. I'll get it to you. Thank you so much for coming on this evening and sparing some time with us. And we enjoy you all the time. I love you guys. Have a good one. Even have a wonderful Mother's Day. But there is no training call on this Saturday. I don't know if he's on the call tonight, but I do want to acknowledge a newest director. He hasn't even been on the team that long, Mr. Willie Finklia. I don't know if he's on the call or not. Is he Willie? Is that Willie? Willie, is that you on the call? Willie Finklia out of Detroit? No? Okay. Well, if not.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, Willie, I want to congratulate you. I don't know if you can show your camera or not, but this is our newest director, just hit today. Congratulations. And I know you got some more coming right behind you, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We on the
This is
we're on the love train.
Yeah, this is a seasoned networker we're talking about, Willie. I know that, just really quickly, would you share a quick analysis of what you've seen in LifeWave since you've been here? Why would you want to join this company?
Well, what I've seen in LifeWave that really attracted me to LifeWave was the product actually worked. And so when you got something that actually works, it's not hard to convince people to join you because it speaks for itself. And I just been moving along by sharing the product, sharing the testimonies from various people on the calls, and I plug people in the call, and I just keep doing it every day. Rinse, wash, and that's what I do every day. Rinse and wash. I get people on the call, I screen through them, get them set up for the next call, and then I work with the people that are on my team. I have some phenomenal people on my team out of North Carolina and here in Detroit, and I work with them every single day. And my goal is to see them hit every position I hit, and so that's how we move. And what I like about it is the manager position, which is the brick, the foundation to the house, it's the easiest thing to hit.
Sure is.
I haven't even really gone deep into the comp plan. I know it's a phenomenal comp plan, but what got me so far is the product. And that's where I'm at with it, the product.
All right. Well, thank you, Willie. And I know you're gonna be a a senior director, but probably an executive if you keep going the way you're going. All
Thank
right.
you.
We'll talk to you soon. Thank you all so much for joining. Have a good Mother's Day weekend, and we'll see you next week.